We're live.
Great.
Okay, tell us your name.
Lauren Friedman.
And you are a midwife and a nurse.
That's right.
How long have you been in that game for?
I graduated nursing school in 2008, so until I was fired in 2021. I was a nurse and I was a midwife. Graduated my midwife program in 2018.
So talk us through what happened to you. Why you got fired?
So I got fired. I was working 2 different part-time jobs. I was working at a major medical center, University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill as a nurse. And then during the week, I was working as a midwife at our local birth center in Chapel Hill. So the vaccine was mandated at the university for COVID. For my previous 6 years of employment there, I had a religious exemption approved for the flu vaccine. So I never took a vaccine while I worked at UNC. My exemption had always been approved. So when I submitted my COVID shot exemption, they denied me. So I resubmitted it and they denied me again. So then I kind of tweaked it up a little bit and it was once again denied. And so that was my last chance to resubmit the exemption form, and I never got to speak with a real life human being that looked at my exemption. I called Human Resources probably 100 times. I mean, I documented in my book that I used to keep track of what was going on. I documented that I called them like 50 times.
Why would you not take the COVID shot? Are you anti-vaccine?
Anti-vax is a terrible term, isn't it?
Do talk.
I'm not anti-vax, but when I had my first son in 2013, I was in a master's program of nursing to become a nurse practitioner. So I was quite educated and indoctrinated into the education system and kind of the hospital incorporation. My husband was the one that said, I don't know that we should get the vaccines. And I was saying, you're crazy. Like, that's so dangerous. How could you be anti-vax? Like, where are you getting this information from? And then as we kind of looked into it during my pregnancy and after he was born, we just thought, well, we'll just delay them because we don't feel 100% confident in getting vaccines. So it kind of started with the birth of my first son, that we didn't believe that vaccines were beneficial.
As a nurse, did you ever administer shots?
All the time.
And you never had an inkling that something was wrong then, only when you were pregnant with your child?
Well, no, not really. I never questioned it. And also working in the hospital, like I did for the first couple of years as a nurse, you don't give that many vaccines. That's more, usually happens at like a pharmacy or your clinic or your doctor's office or something. So I never really gave that many. But yeah, once I kind of started opening up my mind to the fact that there could be some danger there, I always had a hard time giving the vaccines, especially when I started working in labor and delivery. And you're supposed to give the hepatitis B vaccines, 12 hours after a baby is born. Yeah.
And you did that? You gave those shots?
I did. It felt terrible.
Did you see the decline in the babies afters ever?
No, because in the hospital they're only there for like a day or two. When you give the shot at 12 hours, you might not even see that baby again. I was actually a nursing instructor for the School of Nursing at UNC, and so I would take students in to help, give the shots. They would give the shots and I would observe. So I was very happy to not give them myself, but I also knew that I was partaking in the, I don't know what you want to call it.
That's difficult. Okay, so back to your baby. So your baby did not have the vitamin K or the Hep B.
Right. So we went, now I have 3 sons, so none of them have been vaccinated with any of the childhood vaccines.
Not one of your 3 children has had any shot whatsoever?
No. Well, so we did get vitamin K. We did give vitamin K.
All 3?
All 3. Not.
Interesting.
Well, I can't remember with my first, but I think he might have had it. My second 2, I did choose to get the vitamin K, but I never did any of the other shots.
And how old are they today?
10, 6, and 3.
Girls, boys?
All boys.
And how are they?
The healthiest kids you've ever known. They're incredible. Super smart, athletic, healthy. Just healthy. And I have a lot of, family members that I can kind of compare their health of their children, and I don't know, maybe it's also because we eat well. I know you talked about organic chicken a minute ago. I know we also have very specific requirements about what we eat. Not to say that they never eat junk, because of course we do, but for the most part we don't eat a lot of GMO foods and things.
So I'm so thrilled that your children are unvaccinated and healthy. Now here's the bit, and this is not a criticism, because the majority of people watching right now are vaccinated, we all did it.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to stop the medical professionals who know these shots are bad but yet want to keep their job and continue to, a bit like you were in a way, you knew that those Hep B shots weren't great, but yet you still had to give them for your job. We have to stop that. How are we going to do that? Because in the end you got fired anyway.
Yeah, I think the hard thing is it's on an individual to make a decision about their own health, right? It's on the parent of the child to say, yes, I want this vaccine. No, I don't want this vaccine. So if I'm meeting someone and they've already been told that it's safe for the child to get the hepatitis B vaccine and it's better for them to get it within 12 hours as opposed to waiting 2 months like it used to be, they've already been told this pre-birth, and I'm coming in and I've known them for 5 minutes. There's only so much education I can do. Here's your vax information sheet that we're required to give to you, which a lot of the times parents don't even receive that. And that's going to be partial to the child getting the vaccine anyways. So the education has to come before that. Like, it's kind of like when people come in and say they want an unmedicated labor and birth, and then they haven't done any prep work. They don't know what to expect. They don't know how to cope with the labor pains. And when I'm your nurse for 12 hours and I've just met you 5 minutes ago, I can't help you there. You have to help yourself.
But the parents don't know that.
Well, yeah.
Because they trust the white coats. And to a degree, you and the midwives. And so we need to change that. And I'm just trying to figure out how we do that.
Yeah, I think it has to come from, it's not going to come from the medical institution the way it is now. Because people, first of all, everybody in mainstream hospitals or medical fields, believe that the vaccines are the right thing to do. So if you don't ask questions and if you don't question things that are mainstream, then you're not going to get that information. It needs to come from within each person, I think.
Are you still practicing as a midwife?
No. So I haven't been able to get a job since I got fired. I'm working with a home birth midwife now. And I do attend births with her pretty casually. I'm also homeschooling my 3 kids, so I don't have that much time or flexibility to drop and run to catch a baby with her. But every time that I've applied for a job since I've been fired, there's always a checkbox on the application that says, by checking this box, you know that the COVID-19 vaccine is mandatory. And I think that must flag my applications because I never get any calls back. And it doesn't make any sense because I'm an experienced nurse. I got great references, so it's not that I don't have any, ramifications on my nursing license or anything like that. So I truly believe that when I have to check that box saying that, I know that by not getting the vaccine, or that you need the vaccine to be hired, or that I think that it must flag my application, and they never call me.
So the day you got fired, talk us through what happened that day.
Well, it kind of, the thing is the termination process kind of dragged out over a few months. They announced that the vaccine would be mandatory in July of 2021. At that point, I was just a few months postpartum with my 3rd son, and I was still breastfeeding, and I knew that I already knew I was not going to get the vaccine anyways, but I kind of tried to chalk it up to that, as one of my main reasons. So I had to submit the first exemption, and I just assumed that it was going to get approved because I'd been approved the past few years for the flu vaccine, and I was using the same exemption that I actually worked with a lawyer to get written up so it was legally sound. And then over the course of the next, between September and I can't remember the exact timeline, but basically once they denied me 3 times, every single day I would get an email, a generic email. You're non-compliant with the COVID vaccine policy, and if you don't get your vaccine or start your process, you're going to be, and it would be a list of things. You won't get your incentive pay, or your profit sharing check. You won't get, you won't be eligible for this, and it was all of these things. So basically got that email every day, and I called human resources at our hospital every day for months they told me that the people that made the decisions about the exemptions didn't have a phone number. I couldn't actually call that department, the employee relations department. So I never spoke with a person that actually looked at my exemption. I never spoke with anyone about coming up with some alternate plan, because I would have even suggested, well, if you would keep me on, maybe I can get regular testing, which I really wouldn't have done anyways. But I just wanted to talk to someone about their reasoning. I still have not spoken with a person, and I still will randomly call. I opened up all these human resources portal tickets, and I would call human resources and they say, oh, well, so-and-so closed that ticket. And I said, well, how could they close it? Because no one ever reached out to me like they were supposed to. Oh, well, they assumed it was resolved. That person must have resolved it somehow. They couldn't have resolved it without speaking to me, because the whole reason I was calling every day was to try to speak with a real person about not losing my job. And I never spoke with a real person, ever. My direct manager didn't want to even fire me. She was like, it's out of my hands. I can't control this, and I don't even know how to direct you to anyone else. I never even received a termination notice or anything. But the day that I was supposed to be fired was November 3rd of 2021. The day just came and went. Never received a phone call or an email. I even emailed my manager that week, and I said, I'm on the schedule still for this weekend. If I don't show up, I just want you to know, can I come or can I not come? Because I would come if you would let me. And she was like, no, I had to process you as terminated, or whatever the change was in the system that she made. So, yeah.
So as a mother of 3 unvaccinated healthy children, as a midwife, an experienced nurse, what is your advice to the young mother?
Well, I think you have to take your own health into your own hands. You can't go to the doctors, you can't go to the hospitals, you can't go to the medical system. They're not going to get you healthy. You have to take care of yourself. You have to educate yourself. And although sometimes it might be harder to do things with food, with exercise, with natural remedies, maybe an unmedicated birth, all of those things lead to healthy lives, healthy children. And you're not going to hear that from mainstream physicians. So that'd be my advice. Take your health into your own hands. Don't look for other people to fix your problems for you. You have to do it yourself.
This is going to be a hard question for you to answer, but I'm going to ask it to you anyway. If you go back into the field, are you still going to vaccinate those babies?
I mean, I don't think I'm going back into the field currently, because after being at the hospital and being surrounded by so many smart people that were just so indoctrinated, and going through this process of being fired and not having a voice in the situation, I don't think I can return to that kind of institutionalization ever again. And I also know that being in a hospital and for patients receiving that kind of care, it's awful. It's terrible. It's not good for people. So I don't see myself going back into that setting ever.
Find a more holistic one.
Right. Yes.
Well, thank you. A doula. Maybe just be a doula.
Yeah.
Thank you for being so honest and sitting here and telling us. I'm so pleased you have these 3 healthy boys, and appreciate your honesty.